deployment diagram. So I found component diagram for you to show you. This is component diagram for registration system. You have the user, registration, billing component, courses component. Then I find another example for ATM system. We have customer console, we have card reader component, we have bank database, ATM machine, web page, client, and employee console. These are the components. Now let's go to the deployment. You have ATM client, ATM server, database server. So these are the components where how you deploy the system to show the deployment. Now it's very different than the component in terms of symbols. This is the deployment symbol, and the component symbol, if you go back, this is component symbol to show the component. And if you want to show the interface, this is the interface of the component. Circle to interact. Is it clear now? The difference between component and deployment. Very good. Any question about the last lecture? Any question? We talk about pattern and we discuss MVC. Now we move to the layer. We discuss repository architecture. We discuss. This is the topic of today's lecture. Bismillah. What is client-server architecture? Any idea?
Like the tier 3, it's like the client tier 3, tier 2.
Client-server architecture divides the processing burden into two processes. Client-server architecture divides the processing burden into two processes. We have client-side process and we have server-side process.
So, like the MVC,
Like MVC, three components are there. Now we have client and we have the server component. Client side and server side processes. Processing burden into two processes, client side process, we have server side process. We have client side and server side scripting also. Before I go in detail, we have script. How to define script?
it's like a paper with the instructions just to.
Internet programming code, internet programming language code embedded inside the HTML. Internet programming language code embedded inside the HTML code is called a script. Like we have ancient scripts, like Egyptian scripts, 4,000, 3,000 years old, that you found in Egyptian pyramids. Roman, Greeks, ancient histories, which scientists are still trying to read what is the meaning of those scripts. So we have client-side script and we have server-side script. Client-side script that executes over client side. That executes over client side. You don't need to involve the server. Like calendar, you don't need to involve the server. You want to check the items of the prices over Amazon, eBay. Do you need to involve the server? No need. You want to do stock exchange calculations, the news, you don't need to involve the server. So that's the client-side scripts. And we have most widely used programming language as a client-side script.
JavaScript?
JavaScript is the most widely used client-side script. We have VB script as well, client-side Java script. We have VB script, and for server side, scripting language. HTML is not internet programming language. HTML is a markup language. It's not programming language. ASP, JSP, PHP, Ruby, Python, Kabul. These are the server-side scripting language. These are the examples of server-side. Client-side scripting language, we also call them open source. We also call them open source because you can go to the browser, view source on the page. You can see the code. But the server side is called closed source. You cannot see the source code until you hack it. Until you hack the server, then you can see, of course. Now comes to the client server. How many types of client server architecture we have?
Three?
Name.
Tier 3, Tier 2, Tier 1?
Hmm?
Tier 3, Tier 2, Tier 1?
Very good. We call them single tier, 2 tier, 3 tier. 3 tier is also called multiple tier or n tier. What is the meaning of tier? We have tier, the people cry, especially female. They love to cry, to exploit. And there is tire, Dunlop tire, Bridgestone. But this tier is different. So we have TEAR, we have TYRE, and this TIER. So I'm asking about this one. This tire, I think, spelling.
It's like a level?
Tier means row or level. Row, like you have rows, or level. I am not going to go to the slide later on, just first to have the idea, the concept. Single tier. 2-tier, 3-tier. 3-tier is also scalable to multiple and X. What is the single tier architecture? We have presentation layer, application logic layer, and database layer. Presentation, application logic, application logic, and data. All the three layers are handled by single application installed on the server or on a shared drive where clients can access. Masalan, any example application will be called single tier, which has presentation, application logic, and data. Use your processor. Why are not using your processor? You have both.
Like Wikipedia?
Like
Wikipedia. Wikipedia.
Wikipedia. Wikipedia is a web page. What is the application?
I'm talking about the application.
Excel or MS Access. Excel or MS Access has presentation interface, application logic. What is under the application logic? What is under the application logic means? Did I teach application logic in this course anywhere, in any lecture? Did I cover?
Business logic and process logic?
Processing logic and the business logic. Processing logic and business logic. So Excel Access has presentation interface, contains processing and the business logic, and data plus data. All the three layers are handled by single software. You install on server, over a server, or shared as a hard drive, shared drive over the server, and clients can access. This is an example of single tier architecture. Now there are some problems. What are the problems of this architecture? Or there is no problem? Perfect?
No.
Then if it is perfect, no need of 2-tier, 3-tier, multiple tier, n tier. That means there are some problems.
No, updated.
Why not? What is the problem not to update?
It's the logic. You can't
You
change.
can support to limited number of clients. Excel or Access, how many clients you can support? And one server is there. There is a limit. Another problem, very important and very main problem. Hacker can see the business logic can see the data like its banking application. He can see how much money you have in your account. Then he can kidnap you to have ransom the money against you. He can ask your family, this guy is with me. If you need him, this amount of money I need. Or he can change the business logic. I remember mistakenly Amazon business logic was changed to $1 for all items. And then Amazon started receiving so many orders, and they were surprised what happened. So much sale. And then somebody noticed that the business logic is $1, all prices. And then they change the business logic, but meanwhile they receive the orders from the clients, they have to deliver. Whatever they suffer the loss, because it's not mistake of the clients, customers, it's the mistake of Amazon, the company. They bear the loss.
I wish this happens again.
So, hacker can change the business logic, can see the data, customers' data, end users' data, and limited number of support to clients, minimum clients. Because of that, two-tier architecture was introduced. What do you understand by the two-tier? Now you have 3 layers: presentation, application, logic, data. What should we do to solve the problem of single tier?
More lights.
More?
Light.
Maybe you put the app logic in a disparate server and presentation on a separated server too.
Any idea? Try. How you divide them in the two tier? Two tier means 2 layer, as name is indicating, 2 layer or 2 row. I'm asking about the 2-tier architecture. Redevelop the single tier? Redevelop the single tier? How we change the single tier to 2-tier? I'm asking this question. Presentation and application logic we separated, and database separate. The presentation layer and application logic layer is another software, and database another software. Now you have 2 softwares. Database you can have on the server, and from the web server it will be loaded on the client side. Presentation and application logic. So you partition, so you protect your database and you add another tier, another row to decrease the load, the processing load, because everything is on the server. Decrease the processing load, client side processes and server side processes are initialized, divided. So when client will, like Amazon.com, presentation and application logic is there, and database is separate.
But like a company like Amazon, they have like hundreds of servers.
Wait. It was 2-tier, just to improve the single tier architecture. It's not used now. as you are saying, they can have 100, but you wait. Patience, sabr. Now it makes sense that database is protected. But still, your business logic is in danger. Security issue is there. If he hacks the application server, the clients, he can see the business logic and can play with that. And again, you can support to limited number of users. And over the internet environment, as my son is saying, you don't know how many users will access. Because one server. So 3 layers. Now you have presentation on separate server, application logic on separate server, database on separate server. So you partition the 3 layers on 3 servers. Now 3 servers are there. And you protect your business logic, you protect your database. Now the hacker can see only the interface because processing and business logic is on another server. Or maximum you can do processing on the interface, business logic is on another server like MVC. You can use MVC here, model view controller. So model contains the business logic which is separate. The view only has the interface and the processing. Now you can support to more number of users and you increase the security by protecting your business logic and there is controller in between. So hacker doesn't know where is the business logic server, where is the database server. But still, over the internet, 3 servers are not enough web environment. So 3 tier is scalable to multiple tier and n tier. You can have n number of servers. On the top of that, you can have security server in front of presentation server, security server in front of business logic server, like model has security server, presentation has security server to authenticate the username passwords, database has security server, backup server, file server, print server, and number of tiers you can add. Now you have much better security, scalable, and number of users can be supported like Hotmail, Yahoo, Gmail, Google, Drive, Cloud, Amazon, eBay, AliExpress. They all are using n-tier architecture. Any question up to that?
Doctor, if they like have multiple servers for data and multiple servers for app logic,
Application, multiple presentation, multiple servers, application logic, multiple servers, database, multiple servers. Yes. Now comes the question.
how can the servers know that like the business logic when the data is changing? How the other servers know that?
You have the same model, multiple views are there. What's the problem?
What if the data is changing?
Data is changing. Business logic you don't change frequently. You change, then you change all, not only to one server.
So they are not connected, or
They are connected, why not? Like database, you have done the transaction. You have multiple database servers. So once you have done transaction, all are updated Otherwise, you can withdraw money again. Like this location, you withdraw money, then you went to another location to withdraw again. Because different server, they are connected. If you change to one, it will be updated all. So we have two concepts here, centralized database and we have distributed database. Centralized database, one database and all clients are accessing. And distributed database, the application, the copies are there. But you change to one copy, so we call it data consistency. Consistent, to achieve data consistency. We have a concept here, data consistency and data persistency. Consistent data and persistent data. Difference?
The first one was static, the second one dynamic.
Somehow correct. Give me example.
For example, if they update it, they will update it in the old.
So that's consistent or persistent?
No, the second one.
Okay.
But the first one, there is no change. For example,
There should not be data inconsistency between multiple databases. Like you have ERP systems, SAP, Oracle, or you have MADA, like Upshur. You have Upshur, you have MADA. You change to one, applies to all. So data should be consistent in all databases, all copies. Persistent, like you are doing some typing on Microsoft Word. After some time, it persistently saves the data automatically. You don't save, it will automatically save the copy.
update.
It's persistent data. Persistently, it is storing the data. This is called data persistency. So that's the consistency and persistency. Any other question? Now let's go to the slides. So we have distributed systems where we use the client server architecture, and it is chapter number 18 of Somerville, but I covered to have consistency of my topic, game consistency. Because I'm covering architectural pattern. I don't want that I touch here, then I start another topic, then I came back to again architectural pattern. So we should finish architectural pattern, then we move to the next topic. So distributed systems use client server architecture. So we have clients, server 1, server 2, server 3, server 4, server processes, and we have client side processes, as you can see here, what I show you here. Client process, server process. Divide the processing burden into two processes, client side process and server side process. So that is mapping of client and server of network computers. This is network, so client 1, so client 2, server 1, client and 2, client 3, and so on. Server 1, server 2, server 3. So this is the layered architectural model for client server. Presentation layer, data management layer, application processing layer, and the database layer. So this layer is handled by here. Someone will make it separate, otherwise there are 3. We also have master slave. We have peer-to-peer under the architectural patterns. And for the client server, we have single tier, 2 tier, 3 or multiple or n tier. Let's see what's master slave. Master slave is used in real-time systems where you have slave and whole controls in the master, like master and slave concept in the real life. You have slavery, like Americans have slaves, or in some other countries. Let me go to the. It is commonly used in real-time systems where there may be separate processors associated with data acquisition from the system's environment, data processing, computation, and actuator management is responsible for computation, coordination, communication. Slave processes are dedicated to specific actions such as acquisition of data from any store, from any array of sensors. That's the job of slave army. This is an example to show you the master slave architecture. So we have sensor control process, that is slave, and that's the master which is doing the whole processing. So it's used like traffic control processor, that's also slave. You can see Sahat in Saudi Arabia and Jeddah. So these sensors just take the data and processing is done at the master. And then you receive grama fine. Thank you very much. How much amount? 3,000 riyal?
300, the traffic light,
Yeah.
3,000.
3,000 riyal only.
Only.
Only. Yes, only. That's peer to peer. Each machine is connected to another machine without the server. So that's another architectural pattern. So we have peer to peer network.
Mesh cable.
Yes.
I don't think anyone uses this.
But my job is to teach you all possible architectural patterns. So it was used. And maybe in small companies where they don't want to involve the server, they are using this one at small scale.
So, doctor, in the master slave, does the master have like the presentation in the app logic and the slaves just have the database?
Master slave architecture is not client server architecture. It's architectural pattern.
So the layers are just for
This is for client server. Presentation, application logic, data is for client server architecture. The master slave concept is totally different, but it's an architectural pattern. One of the architectural patterns, like the peer-to-peer. And this is the client server. We have clients and we have the server. A tier represents a layer or row, as I just covered. One tier architecture has all the layers such as presentation, business, and data in a single software, as I just covered. Application that handle the 3-tier, such as MP3 player or MS Office like Excel or Access. Data is stored in the local system or a shared drive. So presentation, application, logic layer and data layer are handled by a single server like Microsoft Excel or Access, stored on the server and clients can access. MS Excel provides presentation, application logic, processing and business logic and the data. Any question? So processing logic is the formulation of arithmetic operation like plus, minus, multiply, divide, arithmetic operators, arithmetic operations like salary calculation, tax deduction. Business logic is the rule or constraints to run a company or business like hiring or firing, contract between employer and employees, and contract of vehicle leasing like Latif Jamili. Or bank. There are several issues of single-tier architecture such as security, poor performance, and limited support to limited number of users. So 2-tier architecture is introduced to address the limitations of single-tier. So in 2-tier, system is implemented in a single local server plus an indefinite number of clients that use the server. So we have thin client and we have thick client, the fat client. I did not cover that. Then later on I will cover. Thin client, where the presentation layer is implemented on the client and application logic and data are implemented on the server. So it only has the presentation in the thin client. Yeah, and fat is the thick client which contains processing and business also. But I covered fat client model. It contains processing and business logic. So in thin client, only the presentation is there, application logic and data is handled by the server. But in fat client, presentation and application logic here and data is there on the server. Like database is on the server.
Doctor, what is the point of fat client? Isn't this will be less security?
This is to reduce the load on the main server. Otherwise, business logic is on the server, so it will be slow. For everything, it will go to the server to check the business logic, like the price calculation, like you are using Amazon or eBay. You select the item, it will go to the server to check it's available. Then, what is the tax? What is the shipping charges? Everything you are going to the server. It will increase the network traffic. It will reduce the performance, speed, efficiency. And over the web, speed is very important. Efficiency is very important. Response time. How quickly it responds to the users. Otherwise, user has so many choices. Like you search, you can find multiple companies offering the same item. eBay, AliExpress, Desert Card, and there are so many. So if your link does not respond within specific time, the user will click on the second link, next option. Because he has so many choices. It's not like he entered in one mall, then he will think, oh, item is not available, now I need to go to another mall. It's a single click. Next link. So you lose the customers, you lose the business. Yes. And yes, that's another problem. So that is the reason fat client is preferred for two-tier architecture. But now who uses two-tier? Because that time three-tier was not there. Now you have three-tier architecture, which is scalable to multiple, and n-tier, which is the current architecture. And it is further divided into MVC, model, view, and control. So you add more modules, more components, more servers. So you have thin client model and you have fat client model, presentation on the client, database and application processing on the server, and the fat, only the presentation and application logic. Also here, only the server contains the database management system. So use thin in the legacy system. Major disadvantage is that it places heavy processing load, as what I answered you. Heavy load on the server and the network. So network traffic will jam, it will become slow and efficient. Efficiency will be compromised. Fat, more processing is dedicated to the client. More suitable for client server environment. More complex than a thin client, especially for management point of view. So like fat client in the ATM network, and we have account server, teleprocessing monitor, and the customer account database. That is the fat client model, example of ATM system. Then you have multiple tier. So you have separated all the layers: presentation on separate server, application logic on separate server, and application logic processing on separate server, business logic on separate server, database on separate server. Then model view controller is there, multiple servers are there. Security server, backend server, print server. So you have presentation tier, logic tier, and data tier. Just to make it further clear for you, and you have the clients. This is the three-tier architecture for internet banking system. You have clients, you have web server, you have the database. So two-tier architecture you use in the legacy systems, but still there are so many problems, business logic and the database. So you have pattern description, example, when it is used, advantage, disadvantage, template for patterns. Another example of client server architecture, client, catalog server, video server, picture server, web server. Then you have middleware. Chapter 18. What is middleware architecture? That's also architectural pattern. Another example of architectural pattern. Middleware architecture. You have legacy systems. How to define legacy systems? Legacy systems.
Old and outdated.
Old systems that were developed in 1970s, 80s, 90s, and they are still in use. Like Kabul-based systems. Now comes the Kabul. Kabul was popular in 1970s, 1980s, and I taught you in Pakistan, like we have Saudi Electricity Company, we have Pakistan Electricity Company. Names are changing. Lesco, or in certain areas called K Electric. They are using Kabul-based system for electricity billing. Electricity billing. And Kabul is a file-based system. It doesn't connect to database. And this system, electricity billing system, is covering entire population of Pakistan. And files are there to store the data, including homes, the domestic, commercial, factories, government, Hakuma, government departments, all. And you have new systems in Java, in .NET, in PHP. And you want to have communication among them. Now they have data centers, or they have smart readers, smart reading. Smart readers are there, software are there. So they have application that stores the data from the smart readers, and then all area where smart reading is there, their data is transferred to the Kabul in the files. So you need middleware architecture to communicate legacy systems with the new systems. That is the concept of middleware architecture. The components in distributed system may be implemented in different programming languages. I just said Kabul, Pascal, Fortran, C, and now you have .NET, PHP, Ruby, Python, Perl, new languages are there. or Kotlin, Swift, how they will communicate through the middleware? Communicate. Because protocols are different, vendors are different, specifications are different. You need something in between like translator, mediator. So they can intercommunicate like German doesn't know English, Germany guy, and the English guy wants to communicate with the German guy or with the Chinese guy. So you need translator to communicate, or the job of compiler, high level language into machine language, because machine doesn't understand high level. The compiler is there, interpreter is there. Same here at the application level. You need layer in between, middle tier in between. So job is to ensure not only the communication, but they can exchange data, enter data in one system, accessible to all, and vice versa, like ERP system. How to define ERP system? ERP stands for E for ERP, E for elephant, R for rat, P for parrot. Am I correct? Am I correct? Correct me. Anyone? Enterprise Resource Planning Systems, ERP systems. How to define enterprise resource planning systems? It's a collection of integrated systems. Collection of integrated systems to automate the business processes of a company. To automate business processes of a company. Enter data in one is accessible to all and vice versa. Transaction is integrated with inventory. Attendance system is connected with payroll. Inventory is connected with supply chain management system. Customer relationship management system. So as items are short in inventory, system can automatically order to the supplier or the vendor to supply the items to maintain the stock. Otherwise, human manager, Mudir, like you, will sit and check how many items are short, like you have factory or you have supermarket like Danube, Carrefour, Panda, Hyper Panda. Somebody will sit because they close Danube around 2 a.m. What time? 2 a.m. And I think they open 7 a.m. When sale will be closed, then somebody will sit and check which items are short, which items are in excess, then to call the supplier before 7 a.m. to maintain the stock. So as store will open, that stock is available to the customers. Otherwise, customer will come and item will not be available. Next time he will not go there. He will go to some other store. You will lose the business, you will lose the customers. Trust of the customer will be lost. that some item I found, some items I don't find here. Some items I find, some items I don't find. So I should go to another store where I can find all.
Everything.
Because you don't have time to go to different stores to collect your grocery, to purchase your grocery. In one shot, you want to do that. So automation and attendance. King Abdulaziz University has 140 plus departments. Large companies are there, multinational companies are there. They have so many departments. If you don't have integrated system, somebody will sit and make a report of the present absent of the employees, how many leaves, and send to the payroll department. And at the payroll department, somebody will check the reports to calculate the salary. It's the best if you have large number of staff, large number of employees. In automation, automatically, the attendance system is linked with the payroll. Payroll system will automatically calculate the salary and transfer to the account. Time saving, cost saving, effort saving, resource saving. That is the reason companies are switching to integrated systems, ERP systems. Because lot of profits are there, cost reduction are there, time saving is there, effort saving, resource saving. So you need middleware architecture to communicate with the previous systems you have, the traditional systems you have. We call them traditional systems, the legacy systems, and you have the new systems to integrate them. And it's a long-term project, long-term planning. MIT University. What is MIT? Have you heard about this? M for monkey, I for ink, T for tiger. Am I correct? Make me correct.
Management Information Technology.
MIT is the number one IT university in the world. Massachusetts Institute of Information Technology. MIT professor was here in 2011-2012 in this hall, Al-Masra. MIT implemented SAP and they integrated SAP with their existing systems. Now all systems are integrated. And they have the best professionals because it's number one IT university in the world. They took 13 years to implement SAP to integrate with their existing systems. Now all systems are integrated. Enter data in one is accessible to all and vice versa. As one system, one link, like Upshur, like Mata, or in Pakistan we have the Agra, ID card, passport, custom, tax, integrated.
Why it took them 13 years?
Why?
Why it took them 13 years?
Again?
I said, why they took them 13
years. Because different systems are developed in different programming languages. And you cannot go for SAP as full. Because it's very expensive. One module cost is 9 million riyal. If you convert in dollars, still it's too much. Because 3.75 riyal is equal to $1. So it's approximately $3+ million for one module. You implement one, integrate it, then you purchase the second. You implement it, integrate it, test it, then go for third one by one. Because you need integration. And you may have C-based system COBOL, Pascal, Fortran, Smarta, Ada, the old languages, and now you have SAP and SAP languages. What is the language of SAP?
Java.
What is the language of SAP?
C++.
SAP stands for, I did not ask, what is SAP? You always use SAP. What is SAP? People call it SAP, it's not SAP. It's SAP. SAP stands for? Who are you? Why you are here? Like I'm asking question to medical science students or earth science students. Huh? System, application and products. System, application and products. I was asking the language of SAP. ABAP, Advanced Business Application Programming language. So SAP has its own language, ABAP. So ABAP language, you have to integrate with C, C++, COBOL, Pascal, Fortran, because different systems develop different languages. Because in 1980s, 90s, who cares? They need functionality. At that time, we don't care. Because mostly standalone systems. Desktop-based, we call them desktop-based systems. Now you have web-based systems which are running over the server. At that time, we don't use client-server environment. We don't have client-server. Internet was introduced in 1990 commercially. Then web-based systems were introduced. So these are the reasons it took 13 years to implement. We got data also. Because you purchase, then you have to customize as per the requirements of MIT or any client. So there are two choices. Either you ask SAP to customize for you, or you have your in-house team that can customize. If you go for in-house, it's cheaper, economical, but it's difficult. Because then you need to learn ABAP, and then you can customize. But if you ask SAP to customize, then they will charge you extra customization cost. So software cost, customization cost, maintenance cost, and every year licensing cost. It's for 1 year. 9 million riyal for one module for 1 year. Then you have to renew the license. Like I remember full package is 2+ million riyal, and for the whole package licensing cost is 60 million riyal. Then training cost also separate, backup cost separate, security cost separate. But still SAP is the most widely used ERP system in the world. The best part is that because it's highly reliable, highly professional, and time saving, cost saving, effort saving, resource saving. Companies have a lot of profits because automation is there. Data consistency is there. Data integration is there. You are communicating with different systems as you are communicating with one system. As you are running an application at your machine, so smooth as you are running an application on your machine. You are not accessing from the server. Yes, any other question? Any question?
I think SAP nowadays they use it in Saudi Airlines and many banks.
Saudi Airline Aramco
Aramco.
also used as Saudi Electricity Company, STC, many banks, and all over the world. Most widely used ERP system in the world, but most expensive ERP system in the world as well. Oracle is number 2. Microsoft Dynamics is number 3. It's cheaper, but again security issues and stability issues on multiple platforms, efficiency, performance issues. But as Microsoft asked the clients, it's cheaper and we will have a software middle tier to communicate SAP with Microsoft Dynamics. We will provide you middle tier. You don't need to worry about that. It is our responsibility. Don't go for like whatever the modules you purchase in SAP, okay, fine. But the new module you purchase in Microsoft Dynamics, we will have integration. We will provide the middle tier for the data exchange and data communication. Any question? So middleware in distributed systems, we have application component, we have middleware, we have operating system, we have networking. So system 1, system 2, system 3, system 4, and number of systems. Like SAP is a collection of systems. Each module is a complete system. Each component, we call it component or module, is a complete system. Like attendance system, payroll system, supply chain management system, logistics support system, inventory system, tenders, HR, human resource, customer relationship. And company has previous systems. They already have. So they integrate with their previous systems with the new systems through the middle tier. So middleware support, interaction support, middleware coordination, interaction with different components. Middleware provides location transparency. It's transparent. You don't know for the components, the physical location of other components, common services. Middleware provides reusable implementation services that may be required by several components in the distributed systems. By using these common services, components can easily interoperate and provide user service. So we call them interoperability. Interoperability, intercommunication. Interoperability means intercommunication. Interoperability. I stop my lecture here. Any question about today's lecture? Thank you very much. Jazakallah khair. May Allah bless you. Assalamu alaikum. You didn't show me use case diagram, class diagram, sequence diagram. I asked you.
I can't see.
Okay.